Welcome into the 51 minicast. I am your host, Salt Aries. We're going to be doing things a little bit differently today. Today I have a stream set up. I'm just going to hit B and let it run. This is the 76ers versus the Brooklyn Nets. If you did not watch the game earlier, shout out to Sixers Nation. Here they come. We got the job done against the Brooklyn Nets. We are the best in the East right now, looking for that championship run. Hopefully everyone stays healthy, and we can get this job done. Maybe this is our year. But I want to say hopefully that everybody's staying safe, staying masked up, and staying as safe as you can be during these uncertain times. We're going to be talking about some gamer news. Hold on one second. The audio background's a little bit loud there. We're going to be talking about some gamer topics. I'm not going to keep you too long. I only have about 5 topics or so I wanted to get into. I just wanted to kind of, get a mini cast going, not a huge podcast, not an Aries Alert show where we're going on for hours, just, maybe something in a couple minutes or so. So the first topic I wanted to get into is Madden is reportedly coming to the Switch. Now, as a Nintendo Switch owner, myself, Salt Aries, and Rose Aries also, and other people that are associated with SR51 Media, close family and friends, I want to say that that's incredible to hear. Now, I want to say this also. If Madden does not come to the Switch, I wouldn't be disappointed. I would feel that I want it to come to the Switch, but if it doesn't, we have NBA 2K21, we have WWE, we have RBI Baseball 21. So, and if I'm not mistaken, there's some other sports there that I don't necessarily get into all that much. But at the same time, Madden is the crown jewel, one of the crown jewels of sports gaming, has been for a long time. Excuse my Xbox that wants to rev up while it's running this game. But, it's been the crown jewel of gaming for a long time, a very, very long period of time. There's been other sports titles that have been good too, but Madden has shown to be the champion of sports football, at least for, decade or more now. Okay, if not longer. I've been playing Madden since Madden 91, back on cartridges and things like that. So to hear that I could potentially have a full-blown Madden franchise running on my Nintendo Switch is incredible to hear. I hope Nintendo gets the job done. I hope they work out a deal there where, I'm willing to pay the extra money to get it early, even if hopefully it's like NBA 2K21 where it's the same game. For anybody that was wondering, NBA 2K21 is the same exact game on Switch as it is on Xbox and PlayStation. So you're not getting like a different version or something like that. So, like I said, hopefully Nintendo can get the job done. Hopefully they can work some things out with, hopefully they can work some things out with EA and not only make it a title that comes just this year, but comes yearly. That's what I'm hoping these sports titles are going to do. They're going to become yearly titles where we can count on them coming on the Switch every year. So the next topic I wanted to get into is new information has surfaced in regards to a new Switch. Now, from what I'm hearing, some data miners have found information regarding a 4K Switch. Now, to address this in a whole, once again, as a Switch owner, I feel that I wouldn't be opposed to a more powerful 4K Bluetooth. Some of the stuff I've heard is like 4K OLED screens, 4K Samsung screens and Bluetooth compatibility. Let me say this. The Switch is doing an amazing job as it stands. I'm not going to sit up here and say I know the exact rating of games that it runs right offhand, but I've never been playing my Switch and felt like it was Well, damn. Just let me move this. Let me slide to the side a bit from my console, as it gets itself together. And just to let you know, it's not, one thing about the Xbox I can say is it runs hours, 8-9 hours and stuff like that. One thing I can say is the fan will turn up to pump out heat, but the system itself is not like, to warm, hot to the touch or anything like that. So that is a good feature, it's like you can't complain about it running well. So, yeah, I've never been playing my Switch and looked down at Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse or, let me see, NBA 2K21 or Trials Fusion or, game or Street Outlaws, the game. Like, I've never looked down at these type of titles and thought to myself, like, man, I wish the graphics were better. Or, man, I wish that, they would improve their graphics when it's docked or when it's in handheld mode. I always just wanted more games. When you're playing a game, you want more. You're sitting there with your wallet like, hey, bring the games. That's why I was glad to hear that they're working on a Madden deal, because I think that it's smart. We're moving to a more portable lifestyle. Don't get me wrong. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I know that, right now things are a little bit, on edge, but we are slowly, getting back to things being open. And some people are, I'm more of a streamer at home myself. Like, I would recommend these streaming services. I just happened to watch Kong and Godzilla, which is a great movie. But some people are, returning to movie theaters and malls and things like that. So, the Nintendo Switch will have its use. But the one thing I could say is, and this is tying into the next topic, and that's why I want to say it before I say what I was going to say here, reports suggest that Nintendo may not be able to keep up with demand. Now, if I could say anything, again, with my Nintendo hat on, they ain't keeping up with demand now. To be honest with you. As I grab a sip of water, and a small vape, I tell you like it stands now, Nintendo ain't keeping up with the demand now. Now, when I say they're not keeping up with the demand, I don't mean it like, oh, they're sloughing. I mean it like basically the demand for Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation and gaming in the whole has really went up, and PC, because I'm sitting here on my MacBook. As a iOS user, I shouldn't say PC, but PC and iOS, things have really went up. So it's hard to keep up with everybody that wants a Nintendo Switch, because I think a lot of people are starting to come around to it, because to be honest, when you hear the word Nintendo, most people think Mario. And don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted, Mario is a great franchise. Like, I'm still trying to get around to Odyssey in a little bit, but to keep it, what we were talking about here, if they can't keep up with the demand of the Switch that's out already, how do you expect them to keep up with the demand of the 4K Switch? Like, somebody like myself, I'm more than willing to give Nintendo, what did I give them, like $300 or so for the Switch already, for the big boy Switch. So that's $300 myself, and Rosari's $300. So 9 times out of 10, if it's going to be 4K and all this other stuff, you're probably looking at probably like $400, maybe. I couldn't see them charging if the base console because I think the base console, if I'm not mistaken, on the Xbox and PlayStation side is like $400 or $500, right? Something like that. So you don't want to put yourself in the same category, because then you're in this now when people go to the aisle, around the time of Christmas, because you have to keep in mind we're only in April now. So May, June, July, August, was it May, June, July, August, September, October, November? And really, you got to count back. You got to say April, May, June, July, August would be like your last month to kind of get in shipments before the holidays kind of begin and stuff like that, when people start buying holiday gifts, right? So you have about 5 months to get this thing out, to at least get, let's say, a small amount of people to buy it before it becomes sold out, and then people have to rush for it for the holidays. Now, what you have to keep in mind is somebody like myself, who's a hardcore gamer, and let me tell you like this: if you're listening to the stream, thank you. You're also a hardcore gamer. You're staying up to the news. Typically, you're going to want the Switch as well. Now, if they only put out a certain amount of units in these 5 months, that means that when you go to the aisle, the shopping aisle around the time of this holiday, and the prices are the same for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, now everything's back to an even kind of leveling. See, right now Nintendo has an edge because number one, they're portable. Number two, the price is different. Number three, you can take all your games. Excuse me, the screen went black there. Number three, you can take all your games with you. There's a lot of options that I'm not going to go into today about what makes Nintendo a great console. But at the same time, I think they should, if they're going to release another Switch, I think they should try to make a little bit more than what they made before. I'm not going to sit here and say that a new Nintendo Switch isn't on the way. I would say myself, if it is, I'm more than willing to get it. I would hope that they make it available more than just, influencers and reviewers and a couple of stores. Like, make it available where people at least have a shot for the 5 months of getting it, and then on Christmas holiday you can at least order it and things like that. Make it available so that way people like myself that have a Nintendo Switch and have the money and want to purchase the system can actually spend the money. Excuse me. Can actually spend the money and make the purchase. And somebody like myself and Rosaries and all the other family and friends that we play Nintendo with can make the purchase, and we can all make the jump at the same time. See, right now, just before I jump into the next topic, to say Xbox and PlayStation have kind of created a gap. There's the Xbox now that like I have, right? And then there's the Xbox S and Series S. Now, when games start to, only come out on Xbox X and Series S, then that's going to widen the gap between, the older generation and the new generation. Now, right now, they're competing, Xbox and PlayStation, they're competing with things like Nintendo Switch, Amazon Luna, Google Stadia, portableness, taking it all with you. So, just saying at the same time, it's a good idea to make new hardware, but in the climate we're in, you might want to watch what you're doing if you're, Nintendo, just as a word of advice, from somebody that has your hardware and likes your hardware. So, the next topic, moving along here, the next topic is RBI Baseball 21 is on the Switch now. Now, myself, I didn't actually get around to RBI Baseball. What happened was I was going to get RBI Baseball, and then right around the time I was going to get RBI Baseball, I heard about MLB The Show coming to Xbox, and then I was, because you have to, when you own multiple consoles, you have to kind of weigh out which games you're going to buy and which games you're going to wait on. So if I'm not mistaken, MLB The Show is coming directly to Game Pass, so that frees up more than enough money for RBI Baseball 21, because from what I know, RBI Baseball is either the same or 30. Like, while I'm on stream, that's what I'm talking about. As a Nintendo owner, I try to talk about things that, are legitimate. So I don't want to give you a price on RBI Baseball and that, 1 second, I don't want to give you a price on RBI Baseball and then that's not the price of the game itself. So let's see. RBI 21. Searching. Okay. Yeah, RBI Baseball 21. Okay. Basically, I didn't want to say that the game was 30 and not be sure. But yes, the game is 30 or eligible for 150 Nintendo points. So, myself personally, I'm going to look at maybe getting it. I might look at trying to get it tonight, to be honest, because I have Xenoverse 2, amazing game. Like I was saying, NBA 2K21. Matter of fact, just to check and see, what games I have live on air to tell you. So that way you have more of an idea. I have, as it wants to let me look. What the heck? Well, first time that happened, I guess I was moving a little too fast. So installed, I have Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2, NBA 2K21, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Street Outlaws, DC Universe Online, Trials Fusion, Animal Crossing, Saints Row the Third Remastered, the full package, Warface, Jet Black, Blades, Paladins, Skyforge, Asphalt 9, Rocket League, and yeah, that's where we're stopped. So far, what I was doing was I was trying to explore games on the Nintendo Switch, just relating to, like I said, being the owner of the Switch and everything. I was trying to explore games that don't really come with that much of a purchase, games that are safe. I own Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2 on Xbox, so that's a safe purchase. I own 2K on Switch, safe purchase. Trials Fusion was kind of a more direct game on what it is, safe purchase. Other games are more trials of games and games that are free to play. So, something like RBI Baseball was a definite buy and still is, and I just wanted to at least take the time to inform everybody that's available, because sometimes when it comes to Nintendo, it gets an unfair shake, I feel, in the gaming community, in some communities. But, in the whole, I don't want to say neutral, but elevated gamers that are kind of on everything and have to, make content on everything, when you go to make a purchase, you have to make sure you're not, making 2 and 3 of the same purchases. Like, basically, if you're going to get a MLB The Show on Xbox, would you turn around and get a Nintendo? Now, somebody like myself, I was prepared to do that because of the fact that when I come home, I want to have the big, 4K on the screen, home run, Phillies, my fighting Phils, banging out the park. But at the same time, when I'm at my job or I'm traveling or I'm just out in general, I want to be able to say, hey, I have my Nintendo Switch. And if I'm in a party with my friends, because to tell you the truth, that is true. The commercials you see with Nintendo where 4 or 5 people or 6 or more whip out their Switches and jump on a game, or sometimes they're playing with people that aren't even in the same room. You can play, across the world. It's not like you have to be in the same room with people. So I just wanted to get that out about RBI Baseball being available on the Switch. All right, so our next topic is Xbox Game Pass is coming to Mac in the spring of this year. Yes. Finally. Mac users rejoice. I hear them. I'm one of the fellow ones rejoicing, finally. So if you have not heard, it was reported, I think, when I read the article, I want to say around December this past year. So they reported that, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because spring, close to where we are and stuff, Xbox Game Pass is supposed to come to Mac. Now, what previously happened was Xbox Game Pass was supposed to come to iPads and iPhones earlier and be the exact same app that you see on Android. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole Apple and, one more water and vape here. I'm not going to go into the whole Apple, Microsoft and what they basically have wrong with each other. I'm just going to say that they got to arguing. These tech giants, these companies, I'm not even going to go into how much they're worth. I'm just going to call them what they are, tech giants, tech titans. When the titans get to arguing, sometimes, we lose out. And that's what I put in the description, we lose out. So one of the things we lost out as iOS, as iPad and iPhone users, was the ability to run the Xbox Game Pass app the same way it runs on Android. Now, from what I know, the settings and it runs as a direct app. So you open the app and you run it directly from the app, and it, runs with better bandwidth and things like that, right? Now, when you run it from the internet and you're streaming it, that's where Wi-Fi comes in, and it could be, less of a streaming service and stuff like that. Now, the Xbox Game Pass that's coming to Mac in spring, from what I know, this is going to be the same experience. Now, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this as being exact because, some information is available and not too much is really, they haven't really said anything because we're all waiting for like an Xbox event or something like that. So as it stands, it seems like it's going to be the same app. So for somebody like myself that has a MacBook Pro, bringing up how this ties in, okay, this makes me want to buy more games on Xbox because now, once again, that bag that you may, see a person like myself carrying that has a Nintendo Switch and has an Xbox, they're not competing. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to buy this game on Xbox, so I'm buying it on the Switch. It's like that's a completely different platform with different games and everything like that. Even if they do end up getting, Xbox services and things like that, it's still a Nintendo service with different games. Excuse me. GameStop. Still a different platform with different services and things like that. So that MacBook that, some people have labeled as not having games and all this other sorts of stuff, to me gets a influx of like some of the best games in gaming. Because to be honest, Xbox Game Pass is probably the best, if not the best, service in gaming right now. Like, forget Netflix in gaming. This thing has transcended that, like this thing is basically all encompassing when it comes to third party, first party, second party, mini party, what you want to call it, AAA, AA, like they got, I'm not even going to ruin things that I got planned for later the next stream, but I got games downloading in the background right now. That's probably why the fan is kicking over the way it is, because I got games downloading while this game is running. But hey, it is what it is. Maybe later I'll think about, I'm thinking about a more expanded setup, but like I said, just set this up a couple of days ago and in between work and things like that. So I'll get around to it. But yeah, the thing of it is, I'm excited. As a Mac user, I'm excited to test it out. I'm excited to, from what I know, this is just me, excuse me, this is just me. From what I know, when you stream like that to a Mac, that's not something that you can stream to like YouTube or Twitch. Because when I was using because I still have it's like a small Android tablet that I keep for settings that have to do with Android. But essentially, the tablet that I had, the iPad that I own, I play some Xbox games on it. And 1 second. I think I had to press forward on that halftime show. I think that's what was revving it up. I'm like, I looked over and I was like, what the hell? I looked up and saw Durant talking, and I'm like, no, just get back to the game. So anyway, yeah, the iPad that I was using to play Xbox games on and things like that, I had good service, but it could be better. It's a streaming service. I don't see, that's the thing. That's where Nintendo is going to be number one for a long time, because they don't rely. They rely on Wi-Fi, but from what I know, I power it with my cell phone. Like, basically, you could just plug your cell phone into your Nintendo Switch. For anybody that's wondering, that was on the fence about a Nintendo Switch, you could just plug your iPhone into your Nintendo Switch and run whatever. I've been running Xenoverse and everything like that, normal. Now, at the same time, from what I'm hearing and what I see on stage said by, Phil Spencer and others, shout out to Phil, that basically it's the same way with xCloud when it's running properly. Like when it's running the Android way, you're supposed to be able to power with your phone. So if that's the case, like I said, that later this year, we're going to benefit as Mac users, and I'm excited for it. And I wanted to put word out to all Mac users that this is coming, because you might not have seen it in the news. Now, the one last thing I wanted to address is a rumor. Let me say it now. Rumor. Okay, rumor. That Xbox is working on something with Nintendo. It's unknown what it is, but it could possibly be Xbox Game Pass coming to Nintendo Switch. Let me say this. It's the same way, like I said, with Madden. Thank you if you are doing that. Because for me, having a Xbox, a PlayStation, and a Nintendo, and hearing that Nintendo and Xbox want to work together to bring me basically every game that Xbox makes and every third party deal that they work together to my Nintendo Switch is amazing. Okay. That is the type of thing. Yes. I'm not even going to say shut up because that's ignorant. How about I put it on hashtag take my money now? Are you serious? If it doesn't come along with Ultimate, best believe you could have another $5 or $10 to make it work. I'm pretty sure Nintendo you probably want $5 or $10 on your end too. Don't even worry about it. You see what I'm saying? You talking about, let's call this fair. You talking about Outriders. You talking about Madden. Well, no, excuse me. That's EA Access. You're talking about Outriders. You're talking about Fable when they get it together. You're talking about Halo. See, this is why at the same time I put these topics together, because you see how, in a way, what rumors are leaking from Xbox, and then the rumors about the new Switch and the supposed Madden coming here. All of this sounds like we could be in for like a banger year, but I don't want to get people's hopes up, and that's why I separated actual topics from rumors. This is more in the rumor category because it's said by an influencer and things like that. Basically influencer and, different podcasts and articles have been written about it, but Xbox and Nintendo themselves hadn't said anything. But you have to think, if Xbox and Nintendo at E3, they could potentially announce it there. It's pretty easy that, say hypothetically, just shooting it out here, because I'm pretty sure Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken, is at E3, right? So you could have something where on the Xbox stage, somebody from Nintendo comes out and basically announces that, there's, I don't want to say a partnership, because I think a partnership is kind of something more ironclad and, business dealing and stuff like that. But I want to say, you could call it a partnership. Yeah, you could call it a partnership, because partnerships sometimes start off very small and develop over years. They started off with a partnership with EA, and look at what it is today. So, and Nintendo and Xbox and Nintendo have a good working relationship with games, because I know there's Outer Worlds is available on the Switch. So is Super Lucky's Tale and Cuphead and things like that. So they have a good relationship of bringing their games there. And that also leads me to wondering, is it a new Switch coming to handle this? Because most of the games that they have on the Switch right now, Cuphead, Super Lucky's Tales and things like that can run, but we are missing like the updated Assassin's Creeds and stuff. And I'm gonna tell you like this: if they gave me a shot at any of the old Assassin's Creeds, like Syndicate or Odyssey or something like that on the Switch, I'd rebuy them all day. So I think we're gonna have to wait a little bit. This was me just stepping in. Your man Salt Aries, just from SR51 Media, just stepping in like, hey, the news that's going on, my thoughts on it, where I think we're going as gamers and consumers alike, just to kind of spark the idea. Maybe you could spend some time yourself, researching some things and thinking about your purchases. Hopefully, I'm putting you on a good path this year on what you want to buy, because we're all coming up to that part of the year where if you ain't got it already, you're going to have to get out there and get it. So hopefully you've had a good day today listening. If you're listening back to the video on demand, thank you for listening. I want to say thank you to everyone that listens to these videos, likes them, retweets them, listens to the ads. You are greatly appreciated. And I notice we all, myself, Salt Aries, my wife Rose Aries, and everyone in the 51 Dynasties, you are all appreciated by us. Salt Aries and Rose Aries, you are all appreciated. Everything you do, your tweets, your retweets, your likes, the times you watch the videos, everything. So I just want to take a moment to say that. And I also want to say stay safe, stay masked up, take some sanitizer with you, keep 6 feet apart, do your part, stay safe out there. It's a real pandemic, during these times. But have a good rest of your day, and thank you for listening. Peace.